discussion on strengthening collaborations between industry and academia. I invite the panelists, Mr. Biju Vithayathil, Director, Amity Global Business School, Kochi. And he has got expertise in management education. He focuses on shaping industry-ready graduates and advancing partnerships between academia and the business. A warm welcome, and I'm inviting you to the stage, please. Mr. Raveendranath Kamath, the President Kerala Angel Network, and he is the CFO of, co-founder and CFO of Next Education India. He has got 16 plus years in the EdTech, and as a president of CAN, he guided $15 million in startup investments, strengthening Kerala's entrepreneurial ecosystem. Previously held roles at Part Gaming, Ivy, Comptech, etc. Warm welcome. And Dr. Radha Thevanoor, Vice Chairperson of SCMS, is a distinguished academic leader with PhD in management and over 2 decades of experience in higher education. She has been recognized globally, including at Oxford and Seoul National University, for her pioneering research on aging and social development, and is a recipient of multiple national and international awards. Warm welcome. And I invite our past president, Mr. Ajit A. Moopan. He is the chairman of MN Holdings and founder president of Kerala Angel Network. Over to you, sir.
We have one lady in the panel, and she should take center stage, I thought. Okay, thank you, everyone. Am I audible at the back? Okay, thank you for turning out in good numbers. Let's understand the audience. How many from the academia, from faculty? Great. Students? Okay, that means we in the industry are a minority. That's good. So, all right. So, welcome Biju, Kamath, and Radha. Biju and I go back a long way to school. Your schoolmates. Yeah. All right. So, we are trying to. There's a lot of gaps, they say, from the industry and academia, and we are trying to, in time, we are trying to see how we can bridge this and to the fact, towards the close of the session, I would display a slide here, and where we have a draft concept note. Thank you. On the industry academia partnership we have evolved. But let's take it, one by one. Let's explore the current status of education. Which domains are leading and what are lagging, and in terms of strength of students and job placements. Radha, if you may start. You're running, top-notch education institutions, and your perspectives are very, very important.
Yeah, it's not like which segment. No, on a macro level, people started talking about AI. I do not know for how long it's going to be there, or at what all levels it would migrate up to. But you take medical education, you take pharmaceutical education, you take engineering, you take management, you take any sphere. People started talking about implanting AI in some way or the other. Maybe some level of IT. I'm not saying at a very high level, but even from the schools they have started introducing coding. So I wouldn't say that's the end of the world, but opportunities like these are doubling up now. Every segment has employability, every segment, that's my opinion, others may differ, but every segment has employability, depends upon what skill you have. No person needs to remain unemployable in India. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you. So roughly we will have about 45 minutes of session and 15 minutes Q&A. That's what we Biju, what is your...
Well, it's a very difficult question. Which sector is basically doing? I mean, tech obviously is doing very well. Management also is very good, because I always feel that in India is more of an administration quote unquote country than a tech country, because as you know, most of the tech graduates are not working for India. Neither they are working for Indian companies. Even if they are working in Infosys or Wipro, they actually are helping to improve productivity of American companies and perhaps European companies. So this sector, the tech sector, is going to last, and that is going to boom. AI is right now coming, but it's more of a hype than actual reality. People who know AI know that. So tech is one, and in India, commerce or BBA, or I would call it MBA, is a sector which is going to always be, at least for a long, long time, is going to be there. So I think that is what two sectors which are going to lead. What Kerala should do and all that, we'll do in some other stage.
Sectors, probably I would probably agree with Dr. Radha. But I think tech is definitely going to stay, and I think I would probably differ with Biju in the sense that AI is definitely going to change. I know it is slightly overhyped, but I think it will transform a lot of sectors, practically everything, and I think it's unavoidable. So sector probably wouldn't matter that much, but I think your ability to leverage the immense power of AI probably is going to define employability or your success in what you do.
Okay, thank you. Now, one key words that we hear of is the exodus, brain exodus from Kerala. Overall India phenomenon, but I think it's very, very pronounced in Kerala. I would like to hear from each one of you some say it's even good in some terms, but I don't know. But if we have the brain power, it should result in value addition and to benefit the state, economically. So, but how do we, if it is not adverse factor, as most of us think, how to arrest or reverse this brain drain trend?
I'm so happy that today at least we are talking about brain drain. 25 years back, or maybe a few years back, everybody thought your aim in getting education is to go to the Gulf or to America or to Europe. And Tom was saying we want to build a good, the best Kerala, the best thing. How do we do, or how do we build a state if your best brains are leaving the state? You just cannot do it. If your best doctors, your best engineers, best nurses, best academicians leave the state, you can never build a great place to live. So the priority is to get them here. But how do you do that? That's a different story. So if you look at the top engineering colleges here, and perhaps the top medical colleges here, I don't think even 5% of the graduates are in this state today. All of them are outside. Many of them are outside Kerala, and most are outside India also. This situation has to change. How do we do that is a long, long story. It requires a lot of deliberations. And the first and foremost, what comes to my mind is, very simply put, you see a lot about people going to Gulf, people going to UK, Australia, Poland, now some of the orbit European countries, and of course America and Canada. And many think that they're going there for education. No. Apart from a few people from the IITs or all that who actually go there for real education, most of them, or all of them I would say, are economic migrants. They just go there because they can make money. Or there's an illusion of money, which means in their own country where they go, they are very poor, or it's a hands-to-mouth existence. I know about students of mine who went to England. They come and tell me, sir, this is very custom. But when they come here, because of the rupee devaluation, they think, they suddenly have an aura of richness. So I would say we need to create employment in this state and employing the best people here. And one of the necessary conditions which you need to do at any level, be it at political level or at bureaucratic level, is to have a very strong Indian rupee. Unless and until you do that, whatever we try here, I'm sure people will go. Because you can't physically restrict people from going, because we are a democracy. So we need to have that strong currency, and strong currency will lead to strong industry sector, which will give to very strong employment, and many of them would decide to stay back in this country. I'll just give you one example and then give the others. You know, I wanted to go to US long back. So I got admission into a top business school there, but my father said, I got into Tuck, Dartmouth College. So he said he denied me the money, so I can't go. So I studied here and so on. And when my kids graduated, when both my daughters graduated, they both are engineers. So I said, please go to US, please go to US. I've been after them, go to US, go to apply. They're not applying. So I checked up with my friends of mine in the institute, and they said, Biju, told me. Because today's people, youngsters, do not want to go outside. I'm talking the cream. Because they work here, they get around 20-25 lakh per annum salary, and they're in their own country, they're quite happy. But we need to do that to the rest of the people also. So, strong currency, strong employment opportunities, and then I'm sure no Malayali would like ever to leave Kerala, right? I'm sure Malayalis would appreciate that. No Malayali, including me. Sometime back, I was making a talk in US technologies. So I was working in Reliance at that time. I was a retail head. So they wanted me to talk about retail software, all glitches and stuff like that. So I told them, look, finally after the talk, I told many of the engineers, the group, that, you know, I made a career sacrifice because I wanted to be in Kerala. So then I said, I want to eat curry meal, I want to eat kunja, so I don't want to leave this place. So then from the audience, techies, they said, sir, you are not alone. We are all like this, because they are all in Kakinada. So I'm telling you, Malayalis would love to live here, but we need to give a great state to live in.
So I'll probably call myself a reverse brain drain.
Yes, Kamath had,
in Bangalore.
he had his career starting in UK.
UK. So this is again very more casual, anecdotal stories, right? So the question was, where do you want to live? So if given a choice and you have the ability to say, I can live anywhere, where do you want to live? If that question can be answered, I think purely monetary terms, then there is certain net worth, and then you choose. Right? That's probably what has happened. So I came back probably because there is some certain familial obligations. We thought, chalo, this is where I want to be. There's a cultural affinity, right? So I think if the basic economic issue is sorted, if your ability to earn and you have certain basic needs taken care of, like he's saying, then people will choose where you want to stay. So I think I would agree with you completely that your basic necessities have to be taken care of. Nobody likes to be poor. Nobody likes to be in the same rut every day. Right? Nobody likes to be believing they are poor. So I know a lot of people in the UK who are actually living miserable lives. I mean, practically everybody who went to Gulf had miserable lives. Sharing 4 people in a room. I mean, that used to be the thing probably a decade ago. It was not a very comfortable life. But when they look at the exchange rate, amazing, right? You're living like a king here. So I think to answer your question, I think we need to have that character or the affinity to where you are established for you to stay. And you need to have the economic, situation there.
Radha, before you speak, I just want to collect your thoughts. If you could represent the aspirations and current trends of your students, how it, apart from your own. But before that, let me just add a couple of insights. When I went to UK recently, just a couple of years back, see these students, who have gone abroad, from middle class background, they borrow, the parents borrow money And when they're, it's not top level colleges, and you see a lot of them, part-timing in hotels and restaurants, and for covering their expenses. And I don't know that they're able to do justice to their academic, they have enough time. So it's not a very rosy situation, a neat-oriented situation that you find. I mean, it may not apply to all. It's just a small insight there. So Radha, please reflect, apart from your views, also of the students, the current trend and aspiration of you.
Your first question, is there a brain drain? There is a brain drain, which all of us will have to agree to. How to stall that? That is not possible. This brain drain has been happening maybe since centuries, because always Malayalis have been traveling from here to, though initially we went to Burma, then it was Burma, Malaysia. It went on and on. So that was there. But now how to hold back our youth? That is our, even at SCMS, when we have a B-school meet, we do not encourage, we have never till now encouraged any agencies who send students abroad. There are many agencies, maybe 500s of them, but we do not encourage, and we go from class to class telling them the beauty of living in India, working in India. I'm not saying Kerala. As you rightly said, you go to any other country, you find our students, Indians, working in all types of jobs. All odd jobs you look around, you will find an Indian there. Maybe from Karnataka, maybe from Kerala, somebody is there. Can't they do the same job here in India? We used to ask this question with our own students, and they would say, if I go to a Pizza Hut here and wash plates, then my relative will say, you idinano padikkan vittadu. Okay, so where should it start from? The internships that we have, take care of, especially the internships that we talk about, students expect the internship to be at a different level. But this is the major internship that they get into. They must get into to know what job is. We had students who said, as part of internship, I quit internship because they asked me to take Xerox copy. I take Xerox copy as a vice chairman. I take Xerox copy if there is a need. So the mindset of a student to stay back in India, work in India, all these, this should evolve. Sir, you rightly said, the value of rupee, true. Why are we going to another country after taking a loan here, working for somebody, repaying the loan, and living like a beggar? I'm asking you, the students. Why do you need to do that? Everybody can get employed in India. So that is my take. Also, about the ratio, before coming here, I took a survey amongst undergrad students, senior undergrad students of BCom alone. They are around 300. We have the statistics from the past 3 years. So earlier, 70% of the students wanted to go abroad. Okay, we do not know how many of them went actually. They wanted to go abroad. Last year, it was 42%. This year, it is 40%. So since students are there, I just went and spoke to them. And they said, okay, rest is going to be Malayalam because we had a conversation. Madam, Trump getu. Why go? You have a country here. Who asks you for an identity here? നിങ്ങൾക്ക് easily commute ചെയ്യാൻ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്തിനും നിങ്ങൾക്കുള്ളൊരു right ഉള്ളൊരു country, a democratic country, if it is there, then why should you be scared? So I stopped there.
Maybe if I can just add one thing which is more like a self-place or reason why we exist. Probably the answer also lies in creating opportunities, not as an employee, but as an employer. So, which is what, I think entrepreneurship is key to that question. We have to foster. We, especially a state like Kerala, need to have more entrepreneurs setting up companies and creating that employment. Otherwise, it's not going to happen magically.
Creating more job opportunities, the industry's role. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Now, taking to another facet. Sorry. Thank you, Mary. How to kindle innovation and develop technology with basic research projects in universities. I mean, when does India get to have a deep sea, a BYD, an Apple phone, a fighter jet? We normally see this in West. Now even in China is very competitively coming up. How do we? It's all we see that the universities are the bedrock of all this forward momentum. So what are we lacking? How do we get this started? Radha, maybe you can start.
Initiatives have started. Like recently, I was listening to ISRO chairman and various other initiatives in a spectrum that was never given to the private sector. Now, India is opening up in various areas, and so also initiatives by the government of Kerala. For example, Kerala Startup Mission. Various initiatives are taken, and all colleges have an incubation cell. How good they are, how well they are functioning, I do not know. But so there is a small amount of ecosystem that is being, what do you say, spiraled in amongst the students. But to reach that level, I do not know, honestly. I'm so sorry, I cannot answer that question properly because it is a culture that needs to fit into our families. You go to Gujarat, every family, it is okay, you do something, you fail, it's okay. You go and move to the next one. And even in my own family, if there is a failure, we'll think, oh, vedayirunnu. So that challenge of taking failures, accepting failures, I do not know if all of us, there are many of people like me, do we accept that in my family? We do not know. So maybe it should start from home, giving the challenge to the child that നീ പോ ഈ ചെയ്ത് നോക്ക് അങ്ങനെ പറയുന്ന ഫാമിലി നമ്മുടെ കേരളത്തിൽ ഉണ്ടോ? I do not know.
I mean, thank you for your attempt to answer. As far as when you compare to Gujarat, it's an entrepreneurial culture you are saying, which we lack typically as a state. But that has been a mission of Thai Kerala over the last decade. My question was specifically on the development of technology, which comes from basic research, which is first from institutions, universities. So why we are lacking, how we can promote that, what role can industry play, how we can change this, So, Biju or Kamath.
I think I have a very short answer to that and probably a very controversial one. I think, okay, industries, everybody, the for-profit of the world will do what they can, they're doing what they can. Most of the companies that you mentioned, I think there is a large amount of government funding that has gone into research, which you're seeing the fruits now, right? So can BYD exist without Chinese state funding? Or may not be direct, but whatever push they're able to give. Would internet have been created without DARPA and the whole defense budget in the US, right? So I think research by definition, if you're asking research is needed, by definition doesn't have a guaranteed goal, right? Your classic finance thing will tell you that if you are doing research, you can't capitalize. So it's an expense. So who can, so I think the government funding has to happen. Government has to put in a lot of money there with some result orientedness. It can't be just generally throw the money out. I think that is needed. I think for-profit world, what they're doing, I think they're doing what they can.
But I think, let me just throw some lights. My take, just my individual take, is most businesses in India do not create or do not have the urge to create something new because they can always go and buy. Whether it's a mobile phone or or a phone telecom switch or a drone, whatever, they can get it from outside. I think seldom has a need arisen in Indian businesses to create something new on their own, which is not available elsewhere. Now, let me just tell you that if an American company wants to get into genome sequencing and genome testing, where on earth they can go and buy that? There's nothing, nowhere it's available. So they fund. And whom do they fund? They fund the university profs because they are there. They have the brains. They have the student brains. So they fund them. And if you would know, most of the professors in American top universities are all stakeholders in many companies which they have founded and started. I think in India, UGC will kick them out of the university because you're not supposed to go. Forget that. So while funds are obviously needed, the second thing is we need to find, or rather we should try and get it ourselves and cheaper. For example, genome sequencing is now done by US and you can always get it. So why on earth would some company like Reliance would do it again all over, reinvent the wheel again? They feel no need. So once you know that more and more tech thing comes, it could be in healthcare, it could be in technology, it could be in AI, wherever, something which you can't buy off the shelf, then companies will start investing and they can make money out of it because then they have an international market. I'll just tell you a small instance when I was in Kochi University giving them some training for the final year, I think it's EC, Electronics and Communication students, a few years back. So the HOD was my friend, so I went there and I was interviewing them. So many of them from outside Kerala. But then I asked, what was the project you had? Unlike our times, I did my engineering about 30, 35 years back, and it was all mostly theoretical stuff. These boys and a few girls actually had working models. So there was one person who I still remember, he had invented something which could, if you wore a blind man, if he or she wore it, she can walk through the roads. Some ultrasonic sensing something. But then that was just a prototype developed inside the lab. No funding, no commercial tie-ups, it dies. So I think there's a lot of talent in the engineering students and perhaps medical students also in the country. But the ecosystem to tap and commercialize this, the urge has to come from industry and they have the money. Government also have the money. So money is one. Second, it should not develop anyway, or you should have the wherewithal to make it cheaper than Chinese and Americans. Then I think things will come. So that's the only way I feel professors and teachers could get into industry and research and so on.
I think there's another, for the tough question, I mean, probably what kind of answer what emerges is, one is government-funded projects, which was without looking at the profit and loss of it.
More fundamental research.
And industry funded, for solutions that they need, right? So I think that is one dimension Industry Connect can bring in. Yeah, good. Now, a simpler question, how to prepare our students to be more job ready, so to say. How we hear about Infosys running a 18 months training program for graduates, tech graduates from the top schools. 18 months of grooming, that does not speak very high of the institution they come out with. There is something lacking there. So perhaps there is a role for industry also to play. So how do we bridge this gap and how do we make them more job ready as they come out?
See, skill is the next capital. It is nothing other because, see, if you take any, since we mentioned Infosys, the type of candidates visiting the campus, such a campus would be technical and managerial candidates. What is the skill that they lack? They come out of best of the B schools or technical institutions. They are qualified, but qualification is not what sells now. It is a skill that is inevitable in any student, any person that sells more than anything else. Now, there are so many reports on which all skills needs to be acquired, that I'm leaving it aside, but there are options available for anybody now.
Are you saying soft skills or?
Not only soft skills, even basic Excel, basic knowledge of Excel. Now, Excel, we say, is the oxygen of the of business. It is basically an oxygen. Without Excel, nobody can survive. But if that skill is not acquired by somebody who has done a master's program, he is a big waste. He or she is a big waste. So, acquiring skill. Second, their own paced knowledge acquisition. Skill and knowledge acquisition both are different. Okay, whatever is relevant in the industry, they need to acquire. I'm not saying more because I move into your own domain too. So yeah, I'll stop here and you can continue. Yeah, because otherwise I'll take away all the points. It's a common time.
How to get the students more job ready?
Yes. Again, I always tell, I am a business school professor, teacher, whatever you call it. So I tell everyone, my faculty team, that how can you teach business without actually doing business? Can you do that? Can you teach swimming without knowing swimming? So business school teachers have to do some business. Either they do it themselves or they work for companies, they consult. That's fine. So that is how all over the world it works. If you look at Kerala, medical colleges, medical students are lucky because they're taught by doctors who actually practice. They are industry ready, hospital ready, whatever you call it. But when it comes to engineering and others, no way. I remember I was in engineering college and there's something called a distributed control system, which they just showed in the board, some square diagrams. And when I got a job in FSCT and my chief engineer gave me the hands of the key, Biju, please go and set this thing right. And I opened the room full of computers. Huh? So we learned on the job. So those days, probably a few people only went into engineering medicine. They were good enough and they could learn. Today's generation can't. So we really need to train with very practical skills with people who actually comes from the industry. Mix of academic and practice. Pure industry guys won't be able to teach because I remember I'm a visiting faculty at IIM Kochi. So one of the faculty told me that we get people purely from the industry, they can't last for more than 6 hours because their gas will go out. So they want people who are academicians and who have business experience and so on. So that is what I would say for engineering also, for software. So this 18-month thing is because you have a syllabus. I remember, I don't know how many of you know NJ Yashasvi. He was the founder of ICFAI. Great man, very visionary and all that. So NJ Yashasvi was addressing us. We were all working with that ICFAI business schools at some point in time. So Yashasvi was saying, no self-respecting professor will teach from his syllabus. No syllabus. In the IITs or IIMs, there is no syllabus. So if I teach a course, I prepare my syllabus. So one of the problem with our academicians is that they have a syllabus. And that who will renew and who are the persons who are renewing it? Do they know anything of tech or whatever subject they are? Sorry. So you give academicians the freedom and you have to give them autonomy. You have to make the colleges, universities, whatever, autonomous. And you give the academic community empowerment, which you don't do. And then you want them to perform miracles. That is not possible. You grant them the right to give degrees and you cut or throw away all the syllabuses, let them train, let them write their own concepts and all whatever they know, whatever they have tried, whatever they try hard. And then I think it will be a different ballgame. But that's what Americans do, by the way, for information. No American university will have a syllabus, professor will be here, oh, this is a syllabus you teach. No, they all teach from their own experience. And sadly, our academic community, starting from UGC onwards, do not know it. And I remember many, many years back, I was training a bunch of, not really, I can't call them a bunch, I would say a group of senior academicians. They were all principals in waiting for the top government colleges in Kerala, right from Talasheri, Brennan to University College Trivandrum. Very good senior people. Then I asked them this question, sir, if your college is becoming autonomous, what is your path forward? How are you going to do it? Remember, 55 people were there, barring one professor who was an English professor as vice principal of some large college. All the other 54 said, we don't want to do any such things. We simply want to retire, take our pension and live a happy life. You never challenge them. And by the way, in college, in Sarkar sector, you know, when the professors retires, 56 years. In America, they say professors' youth will happen only at 50. And I know, I mean, recently, Professor Philip Porter, great marketing, was in Amity University, and he was giving a talk to us. So he's 90 plus. And he said, today, 90s is 60s. So Kotler was going on. Remember Kotler, and people who have done management know that. So, you know, that is all. A lot of things have to do.
Freedom of syllabus and visiting faculty from industry. I just want to also run by you, would exposure for students in terms of internship in industry help a little bit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So I'll probably talk about, answer it from my experience, right? So our company offers solution to K-12 schools in India, so all academic software solutions. We had a very interesting acquisition, which is from IIT Bombay. So there the head of EdTech department actually said, look, I have to teach. So this is, and interestingly, IIT Bombay allows the professors to have private limited companies, which they can co-found and actually for profit, right? They are not allowed to, for example, run a trust, but they are allowed to do for profit, which is very interesting, right? And I came to know very recently how did it happen. So that's a policy. So I think that change is happening. So he started a company, got funding also. So his product was teaching computer science, or not computer science, computing or computational thinking, right? So product is called Computer Mastery. Then he came to us saying, look, my company nahi chala. I can run the company, I can design the curriculum, I've figured what to do, but to scale it is not my cup of tea. So we acquired. And as a part of that acquisition, one of the things he had insisted was that we have to do a significant amount of grant to IIT Bombay, of course, to the EdTech department. And the grant will be used to do what he wanted to do. So we can't say what research should be done, but what he said is, okay, we will put the money into research, identifying how technology can be used in education to improve education. It's completely academic research, and whatever outcome of that research is publicly useful. I mean, it's public, right? So it's not for next. That, again, so the next phase of that, which I found really interesting, and we had actually gone ahead with, he said, I'm going to have an MTech course in this IIT Bombay we're talking about. You define what curriculum is needed. We will run that course, provided the whole industry comes together and says, I will recruit. So I don't want to have a course, general theoretical course, where we'll have to go search for companies. So the proposition is, the course, syllabus or whatever, will be set as per what industry wants, provided they will hire from that course. I think that kind of model probably will work and has to work. And that's probably the only way to do it. And just to add, I think, it's about skill, like Radha said, right? Can you impart that skill and have employability of that skill?
We have some inherent flaws in the structure of our education. So we need changes to come in, which will take time. We have to think what we can do parallelly. Also, I think that probably in a pragmatic sense, how industry can collaborate and probably, and then at some time this will all converge, and because we need to leapfrog as a nation, right? So in this context, I would also like to ask, government policies, if there's some recent changes, or I'm not aware, you'll be more conversant with this, national level, state level, for this, academic industry collaboration or betterment of industry, more job-oriented kind of, students, how they're evolving, is there been recent changes, how conducive are they? Rather, if you could start.
Government changes have come in the sense, now we have a 4-year undergraduate program. I don't know how many of you know, or college teachers and professors would know. We are our generation studied with a 3-year degree program, but now the person from last year onwards, degree programs are of 4-year duration. But after the 3rd year, the student has the option to opt out and go anywhere, would get a degree then, or continue the 4th year doing research. And that is a Paka research. Just like we had long back, we had honors program. Similarly, the 4th year is an honors program. Now, in that research, though the, as Sir rightly said, though the infrastructure, curriculum infrastructure is not fully made up, what is intended is that students undertake real life projects. The challenge there is in guiding them. How competent are our faculty members also? Because if you look at the faculty student ratio, there is a actual shortage of good faculty student ratio. So anybody who has completed master's program becomes a faculty. There is no entrance exam, or there is, there is no certification program to become a faculty. Anybody who has done a master's or somebody who is pursuing PhD can become a faculty member. So if the person doesn't have much knowledge about research, then the child gets stuck. The second option is doing the master's as a 2-year program. Kerala government has drafted another syllabus called a KEP, just like the NEP 2020. We have a KEP, Kerala Education Policy, and all the universities are complying to that. There also the 4th year is research. If the student takes that 4th year, undertakes research, then it will be beneficial for both student and maybe a company or somewhere, because that research is not just a project work. Earlier, all the everybody, for a 3-year program, everybody did a project work. I've seen how students are doing project work. I went to one of the Xerox centers near my house. They didn't know who I was. I wanted some material to be bound, and I saw SCMS one shelf. My students are here. The name of the shop is Cherupushpa. So I simply asked for Adenda. Then that lady said, "No, madam, that SCMS project report. Avrek angana kondu kodutillengile pillare project report accept cheyyilla." So the format is there with them. Okay, so who does a project here? If we can club, with the support from TAI and the academic institutions, if we can club these two well, then students will learn more. Just like in other countries, we have seen how it is done in other countries where children are on a real-time project.
Probably, my only view is, I'm not very policy level, I'm more hands-on guy, but policy level, if we have to make a change, I think we need more vocational courses. I think it's absolutely necessary. There is no point teaching somebody Shakespeare if he's going to do, basic, work, right? Why have that notion that you have to have at least a degree to say, in a very funny way, right? What is the point, right? If you're going to be an electrician, why teach, Shakespeare, right? I think vocational courses are definitely needed. China is a comparison. So there was an article I was reading. There are probably 500,000, so 5 lakh specific courses you can actually do, from stitching to ironing to whatever you want to do, right? Those skills are, it looks stupid. Soldering, for example, right? It's a skill. And if you want to have manufacturing, if you want to have those, so plumbing, yeah?
This is a blue collar, like our ITI.
Anything, right? So you need to have paper craft, the number of vocational institutions in China are huge. Vocational degrees, the whole classification is huge. We probably have 1/100th of it in India. And if you are expecting us to be a manufacturing, doing well in manufacturing, where are the skills?
I am not a great believer in government policies. In fact, if government policies and strictures and regulations could have made a better country, India should be the most advanced country in the world. Yeah, but we are not. So I think it's better off is to keep their hands off. All these sectors, please leave it free. You should go to apply for a passport in our, that new passport center. 24 hours, you get the passport. You know why? Sarkar is not there. It's all TCS. So I would,
Outsourced to TCS.
yeah, it's TCS. So outsourced to TCS. They do a magnificent job. So what I'm saying is, I really don't believe that any policy made anywhere, Delhi, Kerala, Chennai, is going to dramatically change the education scenario in the country. We need to evolve from ourselves. And if you know, NEP is written by a technocrat, bureaucrat. No educationists are involved. Kerala State Higher Education Council is headed by a bureaucrat. No professors,
So no representation from
the best of my knowledge, I will not be called because I'm in the private sector, but I don't know if the Sarkar colleges are being called. So that's how it is. So my take very clearly, please keep your hands off. We are very happy.
So you're saying any improvements should happen as it stands now, in spite of the government, huh?
Yeah, in spite of the government.
So concept note, what we have just, on Industry Academy participation, what, sorry, I hope all of you can see as well. Thank you for being, It's just a small presentation, nothing much. Okay, so typically, this is the thought process. It's still a draft stage. We drive the Industry Academy partnership through institutional membership and digital platform to connect industry and academia. This is the whole thought process. Why the institutional membership? These are the points where you strengthen your entrepreneurship development cell if you have one, then within the institutions. Global exposure to students and faculty by participating in our global programs, and build strong linkages startups and corporate and investors too. Enhance employability and innovation. But the next slide, I think, brings out more the takeaways. So we have this Thai University program. It's a global program running. We have Vinodini who's heading this, and I think she will also say a few words after this. These are the program verticals we have within this. And we have like 90 plus startup members who are who's of industry. So and then we have strong mentoring program running, which where we can do and hold the entrepreneurship development cells and pitch and funding opportunities, scalable and fund-worthy ideas which come from the pitch fest can be escalated to angel networks. Our own network is Kerala Angel Network, and through other networks through our Capital Cafe. And the Industry Academy Connect, which is enabled through a digital platform. We have these three in mind: internship connects, research projects from research institutions. You had mentioned genome. We have in our one of our charter members is a pioneer in this. Santosh genome. Yeah, he's like hyped off some 6-7 companies. Sam Santosh. Then problem solving assignments from industry. These are the three things which we thought we can enable through digital platform. Knowledge sharing, on-campus talks by entrepreneurs and founders, and these are some benefits of the our institutional membership. So we'd like to hear from you and also from the audience, what your feedback on this, how the structure as it is, just a draft thing. What you can add some quick thoughts which come to your mind, please do share.
Yes, very good, excellent. Because we have a course in entrepreneurship as part of the curriculum, and I told my professor, please don't teach entrepreneurship because you yourself are not entrepreneurs. So it's all done by Thai. We have a small unofficial tie-up with Thai, and entrepreneurs there come and teach. and people professors sit and take notes and all that. So that's the only way you can teach entrepreneurship. So I think whatever it is, this is very good, especially the internship contracts, people from your group coming and talking and all this is wonderful.
And for that, I think a lot of value delivery is given. That's what we are trying to do. Not make it very remunerative for time. Not so much. Yeah. So that's what this is from Divya.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're taking. So I think we'll open it to the floor, and Vinodri, you want to probably before we wind up say a couple of words on the TU program. We'll open to the floor now. Open for questions.
Yeah, audible now. I'm Dr. Omar Salim, representing EU from India in the cross-border PI sector. What is PI? We can talk offline. Just explain that. So AI has initiated on the curriculum part, I think, artificial intelligence, it is through knowledge intelligence, my definition. When we debate in Europe, actually we debate. And in a session, Tom's session, current scenario is tailored, that is what. That is what is happening now in the artificial intelligence of today in India. Because 1985 itself, people are playing abroad the country artificial. Recently it came now. So on a precision-based outcome, in the education sector also, not only application medical diagnosis, precision-based outcome in the education sector or in the application, artificial intelligence will not work. For example, if you are formulating a molecule, exactly molecule for any antibiotic and any medical precision. I am working on a water sensor in Finland with some Finnish scientists. That exact precision, if that is not there, the outcome will not be that perfect. And if you play with artificial intelligence for that solution, totally it will backfire. So it is a sort of a facilitating arm. So my second question is to Madam, skilling and training in the current ecosystem to enhance, empower the employability, employment, job opportunity for next sector, for investment. For European Union, India is facing off. How will you be educational spectrum people can play a role to bridge the gap critically analyzed based on experts from we people sitting across the border?
Told me, madam. So the question is to me and my organization, right? Since as I represent SCMS, we have, let's take, and you brought in AI as well. If you are looking at business school, we have two types of business school on campus. One is the university, follows university syllabus. The other one is our autonomous program. In our autonomous program, we have the flexibility of changing every term the syllabus. And we do that. Here is one person who is sitting who curates for the finance department. We call many people from Chai, and we have something called a curriculum workshop where, so I'm telling you every trimester. So 4th month that there is a change in syllabus. That happens only when there is an autonomy is there. It will not work with a university run program. But what, not only at SCMS, I'm saying in general, everybody does is, we pass on add-on courses. Why? Because our student must be industry ready the day they graduate. Because they are already hired before they leave the campus. So once exams are over, they have to join the company. So that is how we do. And to the second question on training and upskilling. So nowadays, right from undergrad onwards, the colleges in Kerala are offering various add-on skills. You know, I remember saying from Madam is there from St. Teresa's. My daughter studied at St. Teresa's. They have so many skills that they offer so many skills that are beneficial for employability. Now, how a student utilizes that is different. The provider can provide it. The student should make use of it. Honestly. Now, all of us, now, any college representative, please talk to them. Any professor, talk to them. I know you talk to him. The institution can provide the facility. The student should grab it and make use of it.
Now we have a lot of flexibility. Introduce the professor of practice as a part of the university. There's no more academics alone teaching. The UGs just come with a framework, and you can invite especially these kind of membership with institutional membership with TIE. So we can invite you as a part of professor, and that we call it the POP, the professor of practice, and as you rightly said, Biju sir, and see, you can invite entrepreneurs, and they can be a part of our regular. So we constitute a 60 professor of practice, and I have Dr. Thevanoor to Thomas Isaac, to Nawaz Meera, and everyone, we can call them as a professor as part of the university, and they can start teaching. This is what exactly the industry academia gap we have been discussing for long. It's all about, how do you make pizza? So pizza, the core bread is same, we produce graduate, then 40% we need the common graduate attributes as a part of the program. The 60%, how do you customize it for the particular industry? And you may need, tomato and lettuce in your pizza, and someone else needs something else in their pizza. This is what we are exactly facing as a challenge, and we fail to communicate to the corporate what exactly they need and how, what extent, they expect from an institution, and how often it is getting changed. I think, this is what we need, this kind of forums and people coming from this kind of industries as a professor practice that can change that, the gap that we have been discussing for decades and decades. And two other things I listened to you, and I just thought of adding 2 points. One is about research. See, we have teaching universities in the country. We don't have a research university like United States or UK has, because we don't have, the so-called systematic government funding to research on the university side. Yeah, if you take, we're talking about DeepSeek. There are, people who work for 8 years to come with a DeepSeek as a model. No one knows about, the 8 years hard work they did. The government has been, the so-called funding has been, pumping to this particular project for the 8 years. Unfortunately, we don't have the patience to, support research, and we don't have any kind of incentive except the NAC rating or grading for, being part of the research. That's the one bad thing with our, the so-called academic system. But the last one more point is the brain drain, which we have been talking about. This is just the destination silly. See, I see a country, in the world, as a borderless world. You cannot, stop the movement unless and until, this is so-called, the Trump or, this kind of exceptional situation. You cannot, stop anyone's movement. In 50 years down the line, we never know, if the world will be a borderless. And it's all about how do we create that ecosystem to keep the youngsters in the state. That's what I see. I just thought of adding 3 points to the whatever we discussed. The 3 points from my side. Thank you.
I'm seeing this industry academia, the gap filling, right? Always we are having medical college as well as engineering college. I'm heading engineering college, we are having medical college. Now we are talking about these things about the medical college, because as Professor rightly mentioned, MBBS students are practicing the hospital. But I think that is not practically possible in the engineering sector, because the patient is a human, whether it is an orthopedic or neurology or nephrology, they are treating the same person. And the outcome, we are paying for the process there, for the treatment, not for the outcome. Even if the patient dies, we have to pay. But that advantage is there for this industry. For example, I have the computer science background in the IT industry. Which IT industry will permit the students go and practice there during the studies? Maybe for the internship, they will permit for one year or maximum 6 months only, that much. But from the first year onwards, they won't allow, because then they have to deliver the project. Then only the client will pay them. That problem is there. So how can we solve that issues? That can be, and apart from that, for example, the civil engineer, they have to get a practice in the road. A mechanical engineer has to get a practice in the mechanical things. Computer science has to get an IT industry. So that problem is there in the engineering sector, in the diverse sector in the engineering. So how can we solve that? And so consortium should be formed, different companies, different disciplines. Then the engineers and college should have a support to work in this. For example, the info park, the computer science students should have a facility to go and work in the info park companies. At the same time, civil engineers should have a privilege to go some other area. So that, how can we do that? The second thing is that the curriculum should be designed by the university, but the things that main fault, what happens is that assessment also conducted by the university. But sometimes what we observe that the student who is academically brilliant is miserably fail in the industry. So my point is that assessment should be conducted from the industry only, not from the university. University will teach the student. The assessment examination will be conducted from this some conceptual.
You can do it yourself. Current regulations don't allow that. So that's why I said you keep off the government, then you can do many things. Let me just add once more. AI, ma'am, you asked about AI, and I was coughing at AI. Yeah, because, one thing which you should all know is artificial intelligence today, 95% is nothing but basic statistics which most teachers knows. The other part, neural network, is still not yet developed fully. But I see a lot of applications in education because many are teachers. In your class, there are different levels of students. You teach a concept, probably 1% or 5% would understand. Some would understand it vaguely. Some would so it's so. Some would not even follow it. So as a teacher or as a professor, you are addressing students with varying capabilities. You have no other way of attaching them. Now comes AI, especially Tom's online. You have an online system, education and artificial AI-enabled system. It gauges student responses, and it can theoretically give infinite combinations of theories and principles or infinite ways of presenting this to the students so that everybody understands. Today, I know everyone knows that. You yourself go back to your college days, school days. How many 100% followed the teacher? Not at all. Come AI, you can change that.
That's a beautiful insight. Thank you, Biju. So,
Sorry, it's a very interesting topic. I can go on for hours, but Ajit will kick me out. So I'll probably take 2 minutes to answer. I think industry should not, I differ with you. I don't think industry should evaluate. I go to a very more fundamental basis. What is education? Or what is human intelligence, right? So we have certain DNA, certain hardwiring, that's your hardware. And whatever you learn, or through education, through experiences, are the conditioning of the mind or setting of the biases. Probably how the, now that we know so much of neural networks and AI, we probably understand how the brain works, right? That's what we are trying to emulate. So if education is a mechanism of conditioning, I think it's okay to have tests that are run by academics, right? Industry, yeah, you need to have industry readiness, but I think evaluation, if you give to industry, then I think that may not gel very well.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, that could be done to set up the course and curriculum and what needs to be done, but probably evaluation, I think, may not work.
Okay. So I think we'll move to the close of this. But before that, I would like to invite our Thai University Chair Vinodini to come and speak a couple of words on the program, which is running. It's a global program running well, and she was late to this event because she just took over as the president of Kochi Chamber of Commerce. And congratulations, Vinodini, on that. Please.
Well, I have been listening to all these talks now, and since I have been in charge of the TY program as well as the Thai University program, TY is for the schools and Thai University for the colleges. On behalf of Thai, I think literally the entire Thai fraternity has been part and parcel of this mentoring process for schools and colleges. Now, the observation is when we started with schools also, there was a format where we had to teach students, go and train students in groups. That was a global format. We had a small change where we decided to open this out to all the students. And the idea here was to make sure that students have the opportunity to think outside the box, away from their syllabus. So we find that students at government schools are also very, very inspired, and in fact, they come out with more original ideas than the other schools. Maybe because they are more observant about things. But in this process, I think what we learned is that these opening the minds of students is something that institutions should do. We experience the same thing with our university, which is in colleges also, because we are taking these sessions in colleges. Entrepreneurship skill program, which is just a workshop. It's a program with a workshop. And we find that most often students are hesitant to open their minds. They do not come out with ideas easily, even though they may be brimming with ideas. Something is blocking it back. So perhaps there is a big role to play starting from home. How can we empower parents also, make them stakeholders also? I think institutions can actually open out YouTube channels and social media, use social media effectively and get students speak where they actually come out with things that you are able to reach out to parents, share it with parents, let parents know that their students are smart. That is a very important aspect because it begins at home. And when we go to some schools, the students are very honestly open, unlike college students. They stand up and say, "Pakshe amma paranju doctor avanam nille, achchan paranju nammal engineer avanam." So when you say that, how do you help them think differently? That is one of the areas where I think we should come in. Now, about the tie advantage, I think the most important thing is that, just like one of you was saying some time back, we make sure that it is startup founders and TIE charter members who are actually going and training the students or teaching the students or talking to the students. So and the younger the better. So we have some very young startup founders. We have some 60 in our panel. Our panel is growing because each time they're very successful startup founders. Each time they come to 2 sessions, they want to join a couple of more. And believe me, everything is pro bono. No one is being paid for anything. They're offering their time. And time means you're talking about 3-4 hours in a day. They're going outstation and teaching all the way. Attapadi, you're going to Kozhikode, you're going to Vadakancheri. We have been to schools across the board, colleges across the board. And so much of commitment is being given by charter members from TIE who are actually chairing the program in various zones in Kerala. Also, the young startup founders who are giving their time for it. And that is where the connect comes. Now, sir was just saying some time back, like, how can professors talk to students when they are not in business? And that is one bridge that we have been able to cross, because the people talking to them are the people who are in business. So that is really gaining traction. And also with the tie-up with CAN, Kerala Angel Network, and Capital Cafe here, with all of them also participating in the process, the startup ecosystem is slowly catching up. And we are really hoping that there will be more stakeholders coming in, joining hands with us so that we can ensure that these students are able to accept this, parents are able to accept it, and students really come into this ecosystem. Of course, Startup Mission also has to do a lot more, because there have been times when we go to colleges and schools and having to show them videos of Fab Lab and say, hello, there is a facility like this here. And hello, there is so much happening in Startup Mission. I think Startup Mission can also take up a little more effort. Like you said, the government also needs to do their bit. It's not enough to put a facility there. Kids need to know about it. So there too, there has to be some effort. So I think this partnership that we are talking about, and Ajit is chairing that, the Industry Academia Partnership, I think it will, I can promise that there is a lot of scope with TIE involved in it, simply because the stakeholders here are all people in business with very sincere interest in building the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the state. That's all I'll have to say. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the wonderful engaging session, very actively engaging session, and a lot of questions. So now we'll be winding up with a high tea. And before that, I would like to request Ajit sir to present a memento to our speakers.
Before that, let me formally thank all the panelists, Radha, Biju, and Kamath, for your active participation and wonderful insight. Let's give them a round of applause.